What's going on, guys? Dr. Andrew Fix back here for another episode on the code. As you know, I'm from Physio Room, and as I pretty much say every time, really appreciate your time tuning in, hopping on the podcast to listen to this episode. And if you're watching it, these go up on YouTube. If you didn't know that, there's a channel or a playlist, on our YouTube channel for Physio Room that has all the podcast episodes on there. So if you want to catch the video, a lot of these are done virtually in their Zoom, and many of these are done in person as well. So just be sure to go check those out. Appreciate you doing that. But if you're watching it, you'll know that I'm outside using the phone today, and we're outside getting a little bit of sunlight this morning as we record this. And you know, that's exactly what we're going to talk about, is why and how it's important to get sunlight early in the day, get sunlight specifically in our eyes. And for any of you avid podcasters out there, you may have heard an episode with Dr. Andrew Huberman on this very topic. And we're just going to summarize that down quite a bit, right? We're going to make this a much shorter episode and just sort of hit the highlights for you. So first and foremost, it is important for you to get some sunlight into your eyes early in the day whenever possible. And one of the main reasons is from a sleep standpoint, from a circadian rhythm standpoint, right? If you wake up, you get some sunlight, it helps to trigger your body, your brain to understand that, oh, this is the time that I'm supposed to be awake. We're supposed to sleep when it's dark. We're supposed to be awake when it's light. From an evolutionary standpoint, that makes a lot of sense, right? Before we had all the technology and all the things that we have today, alarm clocks, phones, lights, and electricity, what did people do? Typically, they slept when it was dark and they were awake when it was light. So that's the basis for the idea, is if you can get some sunlight early in the day, right when you wake up, look in the direction of the sun. And again, preferably the sun, right? If this is not possible and you can't get light from the sun, using artificial light is better than nothing. Get the lights on in your house, get the lights on in your office, make it as bright as you can, so that you can get some of those lights into your eyes so your body and your brain can understand, oh, hey, it's morning, I'm supposed to be awake. It triggers a cascade of hormone functions in the body, chemicals that enter our bloodstream to help us know, that we're supposed to be performing and ready for the day. So, but best to do sunlight if you can. And, if you're going to look in the direction of the sun, you don't need to stare directly at it, right? The idea here is not to hurt your eyes, damage your eyes, or anything like that. The lower the sun is, the easier this will be to do, because it won't be raised up as high. It won't be quite as bright. It'll be a little easier to look in the direction of the sun. But it's important to do this without sunglasses on, right? I mean, I've actually even started to drive to work without sunglasses on, even though it's not as good if you're getting this through the windshield or looking through a window. It's still better than nothing, but it would be best off to not have something obstructing that. And I've actually been trying this out with our son, Aiden. Whenever possible, when he's awake in the morning and I'm awake and I have not already left for work, I'll bring him outside. We'll go watch the sunrise, or we'll go watch the sunset. And speaking of sunset, the same thing could be true, or could be said, is if you can watch the sunrise in the morning and you can watch the sunset in the evening, it really helps to trigger that hormone response in the body to know, oh, this is the time for me to be awake. This is the time for me to push hormones and chemical mediators through the bloodstream to provide energy, to boost mood, to boost immune function, to wake the person up and keep them vibrant for the day. And the opposite in the evening time. Hey, this is the time for me to push the hormones and the chemicals through the body, things like melatonin, things that help us sleep, things that help us calm down and kick in our parasympathetic system to realize, hey, it's time to sleep. It's time for me to rest and digest, calm down, and we'll be awake again in the morning. So from a tactical standpoint, like, how can we implement this? If at all possible, in the morning, if you can get yourself up and spend a few minutes in the sunlight. Now, on that Huberman podcast, I believe he recommends like 20 minutes. But that could be pretty challenging to do. So truthfully, I've been trying to get about 5 myself, sometimes honestly even less than that. We've been trying to do that with Aiden, like I mentioned. And what I've noticed more than anything is it's just a nice way to start the day. It gives me a few minutes with him. It gives us a few minutes where we don't have the phone, we don't have the television, we don't have the radio. We're just sitting outside. The weather obviously has been nice currently to do that. It'll be a little harder when it gets colder, but we're gonna still try to do it, bundle each other up. And, it just gives us a nice calm start to the day. So I think all of us have a tendency, or many people have a tendency to, as soon as they wake up, they're on their phones, they're on their email, they're on social media, they're checking the news. And for the most part, all of these things they're sort of driving dopamine responses within our body. And a lot of the information that we're reading is not good. A lot of the information that we're seeing on our phones, we're just starting ourselves off with such a highly stimulated, oftentimes highly stressful way to start the day. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've noticed. If we can get a little sunlight in the morning, and I can start my day just a little bit slower, get a little sunlight, I do think I fall asleep a little bit easier on those nights. I think if I went back and I tracked my Whoop data, with the wearable device that I'm using to track my sleep and energy levels and stuff and recovery scores, I think it will score, and I think that the trend would show that on those days that I went out and did sunlight viewing, that I had a better night's sleep the night following, and that my scores were consistently just a little bit higher on those days. So if you do wear one of those devices, I encourage you to, try that out for yourself. See if you can do it. And then, like I said, I think the folks that this is the hardest for are ones who are already working before the sun is even up. And, that kind of happened here today. I got to the office, the sun wasn't quite all the way up, so I came back outside to record this conversation. But as we get closer and closer to the winter here, that's going to be harder and harder. And there's probably going to be times where I have to try and get out of the office during the day to go get some sunlight. Otherwise, with this location we have here, we're no windows, down in a gym basement. So again, I just wanted to hop on here, give a brief conversation about the importance of getting sunlight in your eyes, let alone the benefits on mood and immune system and everything. I think the biggest impact is on our sleep. And of course, as we know, sleep is probably the most important pillar of our health anyways. If I had to give up exercise and I had to eat ramen noodles and peanut butter and jelly for a period of time, our body tends to figure out a way to do it. But what our body can't figure out a way to do without is sleep. It's evolutionarily so important. And anything we can do that's going to help improve our sleep as a domino effect is going to pretty much help improve all those other things. So again, I encourage you guys to give it a try. Get some sunlight early in the day. Try to watch the sunset if you can in the evening, and see what it does for you. Again, I appreciate you tuning in, listening to this episode of The Code. Whether it's your first time or you've joined us for a lot of these, thank you again. And if you've not heard me say this, it would be hugely beneficial if you could go on whatever podcast platform you're listening to, scroll to the review section and drop a 5-star review on there. We're trying to get this show up to 200 5-star reviews, and every little one counts. We'll catch you guys next time on The Code. See ya.